Hi everybody, this is Liam Martin from Running Remote and Time Doctor, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to work productively as a remote worker. Up until this point we've talked all about how to set up a business remotely or a emergency work from home agreement. Now we're going to be specifically talking about how to become a productive employee when you work remotely. So you can either give this video to your remote workers if you want, or you can use it for yourself and then communicate that information directly to them. We already talked about communication, we talked about process documentation, we talked about all of our meetings, all of that kind of stuff. So generally at this point, you should theoretically be up and running with a very clear remote work deployment agreement. Everyone should be measured properly. Everyone should have all the tools at their disposal in order to report that measurement and to communicate on all aspects of what they're doing when they work from home. But this is generally a video to be able to focus on the mental health of your remote workers. And this is something that actually is really important to be able to take into consideration, particularly in the age of coronavirus. I think we have a very interesting phenomenon where we have been stuck. As remote workers, we've always had the freedom to just walk out of our house. So remote work for us has been a very freeing concept, at least for me, who's been doing remote work for the past 15 years and would not do it any other way. Remote workers, on average, I believe 95% of them, once given a remote work agreement, would not go back to a on-premise work agreement, which is really cool. So that's on the good side of it, but there's also a negative side of it, which is the cabin fever, the mental anxiety that you can get from being in a enclosed space for a significant amount of time. I have a couple tips connected to that, and I actually grabbed a couple psychologists for their input on this. If you want to, I'm gonna link to a video that specifically outlines this in a broader sense, but here's the crash course for you. The biggest thing that you wanna be able to do if you're going to be working from home, and unfortunately you might not be able to leave your home for an extended amount of time, is you need to be able to build a routine. So do something like, when you work remotely, you should still have office hours. You should work a 9 to 5, and you should have a space to be able to work that 9 to 5. Just because you work from home doesn't necessarily mean that you're not working. This is the biggest problem that we see at least for me, especially in the earlier days when I was working remotely. Everyone didn't think that I was actually working remotely. You'd be blown away at how many people that would call me to like help them move or help them with a project when I'd be at work. And of course, because I'm working from home, they just think that I can do all of these things. Well, you can't. If you do that, you end up actually really disrupting your work routine. You also need to be able to make sure that you've developed a very clear work and life balance. So I have a very sacred space that I work inside of. This is an example of one of those sacred spaces. I don't do things like answer personal phone calls or go on to Facebook or social media or do anything that isn't directly related to basically shooting videos like this in this space. I'll do shooting videos like this and I'll do meetings in this space. And that's basically it. So over there, which you probably can't see because we're not pointing the camera in that direction, obviously, is where I do another part of my work. So that's usually where I do typing, answering emails. And then there's other areas in which I just kind of socialize. So I just hang out on the couch, I check my phone, all that kind of stuff. Inside of my apartment, I actually have a very specific part of my couch that is just for working. So I open up my laptop and I work from that side of the couch. And I know that if I'm at that part of the couch, I'm working. And if I'm not in that part of the couch, I don't work. And the same thing with socialization. So if someone wants to be able to do something with me or ask me a question that isn't work related, I'll literally get out of the couch. I know that this sounds kind of weird, and I'll move to another part of the couch in order to like receive a phone call or to look at a YouTube video or something like that. And that creates that very clear mental division between your work life and your personal life. And that's super important. If you have the ability to have your own committed space in which you can close the door, that's super useful. But if you don't have that, Just choose a chair as an example that you would sit at, a small desk that you can sit at, that's only for work and nothing else. And if you create that type of sacred space for work, then you're gonna have a much easier time in terms of your work-life balance. Long term, you know, if we're stuck in a house or apartment for weeks or months, hopefully it's not months, but let's presuppose that we have some type of containment issue that we'll have to deal with for weeks. It's also really important to be able to get along with the people that are living with you. Do you have family, roommates, that kind of thing? You need to be able to make sure that you're communicating very clearly, hey, listen, I'm working here. You need to be able to leave me alone. Assume that I am not here. Assume that you're in a work office from 9 to 5 every single day, or whatever your office hours theoretically are. Some people love to be able to work from like 11 till 7. I actually work quite late on Mondays as an example, because I just prefer it, and it's just the way that my work syncs up. So wherever that time is, create that sacred space and just have a meeting with everybody inside of your home saying, hey, listen, I'm gonna be working remotely. Send them this video, and I need you to help work with me in order to be able to create a very calm, relaxing environment and not lead to conflict or anxiety. Also, one of the other things that I think is gonna be very exciting once people kind of get a taste of remote work, and I'm gonna have a cup of tea right now, is the ability to be able to be truly location independent. So I still believe that this is probably something that we're going to get through. It's going to be a couple months. I believe in the summer, we're probably going to get rid of the majority of these coronavirus problems that we're currently experiencing. And within the summer, I think a lot of people will be able to have a taste of remote work and will say, yeah, this is something that I really love. So important also as well to be able to see the more positive sides of remote work, being able to spend more time with your family, not having to commute an hour and a half to your office and back home every single day. And also, more importantly, what is called digital nomadism. So the ability to be able to work anywhere you want on planet Earth, literally from your laptop. I do that about 6 months out of the year. Obviously, I'm not doing it now because of the coronavirus pandemic emergency, but fundamentally, it's been such a fantastic joy to be able to work wherever I want, whenever I want over the last few years. I'm gonna link actually to a video specifically outlining a very successful digital nomad to hopefully get you really excited about what you're going to be working on. But if you have any questions specifically about remote work and some of the mental problems that maybe you're going to face over the next couple weeks, please put them down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to be able to answer them. And if you have any other questions, put them down there. And otherwise, I will see you in the next module.